Good. Okay. Okay, first thing we're going to do is reconvene the meeting for March 11th, 2025. And first item is adoption of the proposed 2025-26 levy rates. I'll turn to you or turn to Nicole.
We're going to open up for public comment first, yes.
Yeah.
If there's anybody here to speak to the levy rates that are being proposed, if you wouldn't mind coming to the podium at this time.
Seeing none.
Seeing none, the superintendent recommends that the board approve the proposed levy rates for 2025-2026.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
And I did ask our treasurer just to provide some brief comments prior to the vote.
You lose your clicker?
I did.
Good evening. For fiscal year 26, our regular levy rates for Class 2 will be 38.8 cents. For Class 3 and 4, it'll be 77.6 cents. Our regular levy rates are established by the legislature. The excess levy rates for Class 2 will be 33.5 cents, and Class 3 and 4 will be 67 cents. And those are established by the levy call. Our bond levy rates for Class 2 will be 2.58 cents, Class 3 and 4 will be 5.16 cents, and the bond levy rates are calculated based on the principal and interest for fiscal year 26. Let me see if it's on. As we head into fiscal year 26, our excess levy revenues have decreased by $3.6 million. Our regular levy, the net effect once we work through the state aid formula, will be $400,000. Going into fiscal year 26, we are seeing a $4 million property tax revenue decrease. Where did my list? In fiscal year 25, the board saw an increase in property taxes. Also in fiscal year 25 was the first year operating without any COVID or ESSER dollars. We were able to continue some of the programs under the ESSER COVID dollars, which was summer and after-school programming of $1 million, free breakfast and lunch for all students of $1 million, additional school staffing. We went from 100 staff over formula to 125. That cost is around $2 million. The average cost of a 200-day professional position in Mon County is $82,000, and this does include benefits. Average cost of service position, 200-day contract with benefits, is $57,000. Also for fiscal year 25, we expanded our SOL officers at the elementary schools at a cost of $200,000. And we have construction projects getting ready to start of $47 million. The SBA has contributed $23.2 million with local funding of $23.8 million, which is coming from our reserves. I will be bringing the board back the budget in May. It is critical that we have a balanced budget. Failure to do so could result in a deficit, which then could lead to state intervention or state control. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Nicole? Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. So our next board meeting is now. So we will adjourn that meeting. And now we will call to order tonight's meeting. So I call to order tonight's meeting for the Monongalia County Board of Education. It's Tuesday, April 15th, 5 p.m. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. First item we have here is recognitions, which we always love to do. I'm gonna take that one, or we're gonna turn it over to the chef?
Well, I can go ahead and introduce, for sure. We are going to recognize the West Virginia State Hospitality Cup winners from MTech, our Pro Start program, and Chef Cavell. So MTech's restaurant management students earned the state championship at Pro Start's West Virginia competition in March, and they are headed to the national competitions. Pro Start is a 2-year industry-backed culinary arts and restaurant management program designed for high schools. The program introduces students to a variety of careers in hospitality. The first place Pro Start restaurant management team is led by Chef Brian Cavell and includes Reagan Brandt, Olivia Ix, Sierra Umble, and Bailey Willard. And the Pro Start National Competition will be held May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in Baltimore, Maryland. And congratulations to MTech's restaurant management students and Chef Cavell. So please come forward.
Yeah, so these kids have been doing a great.
Here you go, Brian.
These kids have been doing a great job. We've been at the national competition since 2015, so we have a good 10-year streak for Monongalia County Schools, which is pretty awesome. These kids have the opportunity to win over $1 million in scholarships. So we got close last year. They came in 6th. So we're hoping we can get on the stage this year and get some funds so these kids can go to school. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for everything.
We stole Chef from Tucker County, along with somebody else that we stole from Tucker County.
I brought it.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Do you want me to mention? Before we do the delegations, I know we're getting ready to do those, there was a lot of misinformation related to the adult LPN program. We know social media had, some of our own staff had put out some misinformation related to the LPN, the adult LPN program. So the LPN program is going to be in existence next year. There's no issue related to that program. So if I'm sorry to say, if you came here tonight to talk about the LPN program, you really don't need to talk about it because it's going to be okay. It's not an issue. You're certainly welcome to do that if you want to, but I know some of you may have come just to address the LPN program specifically. And again, I just wanted to make sure that everyone was aware that specific program is not in jeopardy. There is not going to be a recommendation to eliminate that program for next year. So just wanted to make sure everybody knew that before we got into our delegations. So.
Okay, so with some legalese here we need to read before we all start this. Speakers are requested to express themselves in a civil manner with due respect of the dignity and privacy of others who may be affected by their comments. While it is not our intent to stifle public comment, speakers should be aware that if your statements violate the rights of others under the law of defamation or invasion of privacy, you may be held legally responsible. If you are unsure of the legal ramifications of what you're about to say, we urge you to consult your legal advisor. Monongalia County School Board Policy 0169. Public participation at board meetings states that you may speak for no more than 5 minutes if there are 12 or fewer delegations. After 12 delegations, the amount of time you may speak will be determined by taking the number of delegations and dividing it by 60 minutes. Public comment is not a time for open dialogue among the board members and the speaker. The board members will not answer any questions posed to them from a speaker or comment on the speaker's concerns. In short, there will be no verbal interaction from the board members during or after the speaker's comments. That all has to do with the Sunshine Law, so get that out of the way. Do we have our clock? We have our clock. So first up is John Rubin, MTech Clinical Programs. Please use the microphone.
Good evening. As you said, my name is John Rubin. I'm the Director of Talent Acquisition with WVU Hospitals here in Morgantown, and am here today to speak on behalf of the WVU Health System regarding the programs in MTech. So we're grateful to hear that the LPN program is not being impacted. That was part of what we're here to speak about this evening. But in addition to that, we've prepared a statement that we would like to share with you now. The WVU Health System is here to show support for keeping the emergency medical system and surgical technology programs open. As the largest private employer in the state of West Virginia, with 25 hospitals in West Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and Ohio, we rely heavily on the programs to staff our facilities. In fact, the health system employs 366 surgical technologists and 64 ED Tech EMT positions as well. In 2024, the WVU Health System completed more than 29,000 surgeries. Surgical technologists are instrumental in our ability to provide life-changing and, in some instances, life-saving procedures for our patients. In 2024, the WVU Health System had more than 500,000 emergency department visits. The ED Tech EMT role is a key component to our staffing model in the emergency department, which also relies heavily on personnel across the continuum of care, from the 911 dispatchers who take the emergency calls and send the appropriate help to the first responders who arrive on the scene and provide care en route to the hospital, to the ED staff to provide emergent care to patients impacted by unexpected injury or illness. Currently, WVU Hospitals, which includes J.W. Ruby Memorial Hospital and WVU Medicine Children's in Morgantown, as well as Fairmont Medical Center, and all of our affiliated outpatient clinics, are hiring for each of these important roles, and we would ask and support that Mon County continue to support these programs for our patients in our community. Not only do these roles serve a specific need, but there are many examples of students who have started in these positions and have grown well beyond them in areas such as nursing, leadership, and others. We thank you for your support to this important matter. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Rubin. Okay, next up we have Erica King. I think it's MTech Surgical and Technology and Adult Program.
Good evening. My name is Erica King. I am a surgical technologist and a first assistant. I am also a graduate of MTech Surgical Technology Program back in 2004. I'm here tonight in support of surgical technology and the changes that are amidst in the future for the program. It's my belief that Pierpont is going to possibly sign an MOU with MTech to take the program, but however, those changes have not been made. There's nothing set in stone, and I'm here to support the program and our community by being in presence and sharing my knowledge for 21 years working in the health industry and how much this is a vital program for our community. It's also a vital program for our state. We are a very large, at MTech, very large feeder program into many hospitals across the state of West Virginia and in the tri-state area. And failure to continue the program would cause repercussions on our health and our communication with the community and the state of West Virginia. So I'm here to say that I'm not very good at public speaking, but I'm very good at what I do, and I'm a very skilled and advanced professional. I know a lot about the human body, and we need to have programs in our community that develop students and the future, because I'm not going to be able to sit in this position. I am 42 years old, so we need to raise up younger future surgical technologists and EMS and HVAC technicians, everyone that benefit from our adult programs here in Monongalia County. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. King. Okay. Next, we have Laura Capage. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Chinese language.
Good evening. My name is Laura Capage, and I'm a child psychologist in this community at the Mon County Child Advocacy Center. But I'm also a parent. I have one child that graduated from Mon County schools, and I have another child still in Mon County schools. And I wanted to speak about eliminating programming for children and really encouraging you all to try to find alternative ways to do that. We certainly have some people speaking here this evening about a variety of programs. I really wanted to address the Chinese language program, but I think what I have to say also applies to a lot of these other programs. I know you all are aware of this. I'm aware of this as well. We have a lot of children struggling in our community. We certainly have a mental health crisis out there, and it's very important that we support all the kids who are in Mon County schools and find ways to encourage them to stay in school and find their passions. And so what can happen when you start trying to eliminate programs is you may squash certain children's dreams. And I'm sure it's very hard to sit there and say, we only have so much money and, smaller programs are easier to cut. But I hope you'll keep in mind that if you are cutting or eliminating programs, you're squashing somebody's dreams. And it could turn a child off from school, or it could be a real source of safety and support for that child. I definitely want to speak about the Chinese program and Ms. Fang, who is an instructor at South Middle School specifically. I think it is very important that we keep our Chinese programming going in this community. I can remember my son, who's 19 years old, starting Chinese at Mountain View Elementary as a youngster. And I think it was a good move to bring that to our community. China is the second largest nation in the world population-wise, has over 1.4 billion individuals. And so it's very important that our students are prepared to interact internationally with individuals from China. And so we really want to make sure our schools stay top-notch and that we're preparing our students for the future. I am aware that there is a reduction in force consideration for Ms. Fang, who teaches at South Middle School. My daughter, who is here this evening, and I think we have some other kids from the Chinese class who are really here to say they really enjoy the Chinese class. It is very important to them, and we want to make sure that we keep it at South Middle School, especially for those who are in 7th grade right now, like my daughter and some of her friends. They want to get the other half of their credit for Chinese, so I am very hopeful that it will at least stay for another year. I did speak with Ms. DeVault, and she seemed to feel like that was going to happen. Mrs. Brown at South wasn't quite sure. So I think that that's very important. But I also want to say, as far as Ms. Fang goes, she is an outstanding and phenomenal teacher. She is the kind of teacher you want to retain in the school system. She is very sensitive and supportive of her students. She goes above and beyond. She will stay after school to tutor students if they need help. She has arranged for a lot of cultural activities. These students were able to participate in a Chinese New Year celebration and perform. They recently went to a competition at Fairmont State University, and they won first place, and they were able to get scholarships to Fairmont State University because of that. And that's really because Ms. Fang is a phenomenal teacher and has arranged all kind of experiences for these students. So I really want to encourage you to keep her in the school system, to find some way, some type of, job sharing between schools, something, because we really need to keep phenomenal teachers like her. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Compage. I apologize for mispronouncing your name. Next, we have Dennis Chang, speak about the Dennis Cheney. Cheney, okay. Speak about EMS.
Yeah, my name's Dennis Cheney. Been in EMS since 1990. My son is presently in the program as a first-year student. This program is needed. There is a national shortage of EMTs and paramedics. Of all the years I've been in the industry, along with 20 years in the volunteer firefighting, this is the first school I've ever seen do such a program. Is it an amazing program? I've seen my son change drastically since he started this class. Whatever reason you guys feel you need to eliminate the program, I would like you to think about what it's doing nationally. We have a great university and community college a half hour from here that has a wonderful paramedic program. It gives them a head start. This program has awards already in the short time it's been a program for Skills USA, which shows a lot in how well Mrs. Hayes is doing well with the class. And I've also heard that there's talk of trying to finish the second year this summer, which is not setting anybody up for success. EMS or any medical program is nothing you should rush. They need their time. They still have to do clinical times, not including whatever's left, what they were supposed to do in their second year. I feel that not setting anybody up for success, and it's unfair to the students and Mrs. Hayes to try to rush a program like this, and you're going to end up getting somebody hurt. What's going to happen? But I just, like I said, feel this is a great program. I feel it's a need. You can look at numbers, and this state alone, we are so low on numbers, they're actually shutting volunteer EMS agencies down because there's not enough volunteers. So I would like you guys to just think about that and hopefully keep the EMS program up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cheney. Next, we have Gabrielle Chico.
Hello everyone, my name is Gabrielle Chico and I'm currently an EMT that was a graduate of this program last year. I joined the high school EMT program at MTech because I wanted to make a difference. What I found was a life-changing experience that shaped my future in ways that I would never have expected. The program inspired me to become a cross-trained first responder and led me to join the volunteer fire department at just 16 years old as a young female entering a traditionally male-dominated field. That decision has lit a fire in me that still is burning today. After graduating, I became a certified EMT and have proudly served in that role for the past year. Thanks to MTech's training, I've also become a volunteer firefighter, but I've passed my firefighter 1 and 2, EVOC, CEVO, CPR BLS, Stop the Bleed, MCI 1 and 2, Hazmat Awareness and Operations, and I'm now pursuing Fire Officer 1 and 2. My ultimate goal is to become a flight nurse, but none of this would have been possible without the strong foundation that I received in this program. Through MTech, I competed in Skills USA, winning the West Virginia State EMT competition twice, placing top 10 nationally both times, and serving as a West Virginia state officer. These experiences gave me leadership, national level exposure, and a deep sense of pride in my chosen career path. The world of EMS is not just a profession, it's a family. We look out for each other, support each other, like everyone standing behind me, and we stand together in each other's most difficult moments. We're the ones when you call 911. We're the ones that respond to your emergencies. We're the ones who are there for when you're having your worst day. We show up and do everything we can to help. It is a job that is physically, mentally, and emotionally demanding, but it's one of the most rewarding careers that anyone can pursue. Recently, some false statements were put into the Dominion Post. One by Eddie Campbell, who said that if you do cut something, you want to cut something that will have the least impact on students. Unfortunately, this might have to be one of those programs. Respectfully, I disagree, as this program does have an impact on students and, most importantly, the community. Deeply. It really does affect us. It changes lives, equips us with real-world skills, and strengthens emergency response in a state that desperately needs them. We claimed that the classroom can hold more than it realistically can. The program currently has three first-year students, 5 second-year students, and 12 incoming students for the 2025-2026 school year. I was taught to treat a patient and use the numbers as a reference. For example, someone who might have a low blood pressure that would raise concern if you were just looking at the numbers might be perfectly fine. In turn, you can't judge success on numbers alone, especially in an underappreciated, under-advertised, and still relatively new program. West Virginia is facing an EMS crisis. Since 2022, at least 18 EMS agencies or more have shut down. Ambulance wait times in some counties exceed 50 minutes, and in just 1 month alone last year, 2 West Virginians, one being a teenager who was my exact age, died waiting on emergency care because no ambulance was available. This shortage, especially in rural counties, is fueled by underfunding and a lack of trained first responders. If you still aren't fully convinced of the value and impact that the MTech EMT program can have, I encourage you to look just beyond my story. Scroll through the many heartfelt Facebook posts from myself as a former student, parents, current professionals, and community members who don't even have a dog in the fight. Read the powerful letters submitted by healthcare and emergency service professionals who understand firsthand how critical this training is. You can also refer to the Sunday's edition of the Dominion Post, which includes direct statements from current EMS students, parents, and myself, and watch WBOI's coverage highlighting the importance of this program in the near future. The support from this program is strong, widespread, and deeply rooted in the reality of what our state needs, and we will continue to advocate for this pressing issue until the decision to cut this program is changed. Eliminating the program only worsens the crisis. We need more trained EMS professionals, not fewer. MTech's EMT program is a proven pipeline for passionate, capable young people who are ready to serve, just like myself. And taking away this program would be taking away the chance of someone's survival. Thank you. And I really hope that you all will consider taking away this program, because it really does impact everyone's lives.
Thank you, Gabrielle. Alrighty. Before we go further, I know you're probably wondering why we have a vacant seat up here. One of our members, Sean Smith, is actually here by phone, so hoping to make sure everybody knew that he was in fact doing his job. So now we have the personnel hearings. So if anybody wants to stay or whatever. Everybody go. Okay, first one we have is Nicole Reyes.
Just make sure that anybody that's here for the Reyes hearing has the opportunity to come in.
Good evening.
Hang on just a second, please.
Please accept my apologies. Okay. But you can sit here, and Nicole can sit there.
We good? Okay, would all the individuals who will be providing testimony in this matter please stand if you're able and raise your right hand?
Does that include her attorney? Okay, just like court.
Okay, I guess I don't have to swear anybody in then.
I'm
Does-
happy to.
Yeah.
Does Nikki have to be sworn in?
If she's
You're gonna-
In the event that she may, let's go ahead and.
Okay. Okay. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
We'll open up for Jennifer.
know all of you, I'm going to introduce myself for the sake of the recording. I'm Jennifer Carradine. I'm here this evening representing the administration. The administration requests the board to uphold the recommendation to eliminate the purchasing specialist position as part of Monongalia County Schools' strategic response to the known loss of revenue for the 25-26 school year. The district is required to cut a minimum of 9.75 county-funded professional positions, and every effort is being made to implement these reductions in a manner that impacts the fewest number of students and supports long-term organizational efficiency. If you turn to tab 2 in your handout, you'll see the job description for the current purchasing specialist job. This position was created during a time when the board contracted externally with a clerk of the works. At the end of that contract, the board established its own executive director of facilities management position to better oversee construction-related projects and procurement processes. Currently, that position is vacant following the resignation of the previous director. Looking ahead, as you heard from our treasurer, Ms. Kemper, we have over $47 million in construction projects on the horizon. That, with increasing demands for compliance oversight, leads us to look in a different direction. Mon County Schools must shift from a mere administration of procedures to proactive management of its procurement processes. The recommendation is that we eliminate the current purchasing specialist position and officially close the currently vacant executive director of facilities management position. And then, with the two of those positions gone, create one position, which would be a purchasing director position, to meet the more sophisticated needs of the district. If you look at tab 3 in your handout, you'll see that the proposed purchasing director will assume a broad range of high-level responsibilities. Other school districts comparable in size already employ a purchasing director to meet their procurement needs. Those include Berkeley, Cabell, Harrison, Kanawha, Logan, Mercer, Putnam, Raleigh, and Wood. Recent reports underscore the serious consequence of inadequate purchasing oversight. If you look in tabs 4 through 6 of your handout, you'll see reports on Upshur County Schools Special Circumstance Review Update, Logan County's On-Site Review Report, and Boone County Schools Fraud Case. We're not suggesting non-compliance within our county, but we do recognize the critical need for enhanced vigilance and structure in our procurement practices. We fully acknowledge the emotional weight of eliminating a position currently held by a valued employee. This decision is not a reflection of performance, but a necessary step taken from a business perspective to restructure operations and better align our resources with the growing demands and responsibilities we face. We appreciate the board's thoughtful consideration and continued support as we navigate these challenges and work to strengthen the financial health and operational integrity of Monongalia County Schools.
Thank you. Counterpoint?
Good evening. My name is Kelly Reed. I am an attorney in the community, and I'm here to proffer on behalf of Mrs. Reyes. She may answer some questions if there are any, but that remains to be seen. I respectfully have some questions to pose, if I may, and I'm not sure who to pose them to, so I'll just pose them to you all at large. I'm looking at tab 3. In the what has been represented would be the duties for this new position that you intend to create. And I would ask, what on here is Ms. Reyes not currently already doing?
That'd be a question for Jennifer. That'd be a question for you, or?
Well, I could probably answer that, but at this level, none of it is, she does what's in her job description, but these are additional duties and more working directly with managers, supervisors, everything it says, basically.
If, with all due respect, I would proffer that actually Mrs. Reyes does do all of these job duties. Nothing listed on this page under tab 3 is outside of duties and responsibilities that Mrs. Reyes has already. Ms. Carradine has mentioned budget issues and whatnot, and that seems to be the driving factor here. But you're creating a new position that's actually a director level position, and you're claiming that it has enhanced duties. Again, I would proffer Mrs. Reyes is already doing these duties, but you're going to have to pay that person as well. So with respect to budget constraints, this seems to be a 6 of one, half a dozen of another situation. And there's been no meaningful justification as to why Mrs. Reyes must be eliminated as the person in the current position and not put in this new position. It's really not been completely justified why the new position is needed at all, or why it's being called a director level position, especially when you look at the duties under tab 3, insofar as she's already doing them. I would also just like to go over some of Mrs. Reyes's history. It's been proffered that this is not performance related, and we're very happy to hear that because, as I'm sure you are all aware, Mrs. Reyes has been employed as the purchasing specialist since 2018. For 3 years, she was in that position with no contract. Then in 2021, she was offered the contract position, which she accepted. Up until February of 2023, there were purportedly absolutely no issues with her employment whatsoever. I think is exemplified by the fact that she was offered the contract position in 2021. In February of 2023, as I'm sure you're all aware, very unfortunately, Mrs. Reyes suffered a stroke. She was off work for some period of time, and through some really hard work on her part, she returned to work in September of 2023 as the purchasing specialist. Upon her return to work, there was no meaningful interaction with her employer to assess whether she had any need for reasonable accommodations to return her to work. Over the course of the next year, or I should say in September of 2024, after she'd been back to work for a year, she was suddenly placed on an improvement plan. In that improvement plan, there were noted some deficiencies in her work, but there was no mention of any type of accommodations that had been attempted for her, because none were. And that is not an affording of appropriate due process to Ms. Reyes. The improvement plan she was put on, and it was dated in October of 2024, by its very own terms was to last for no longer than 18 weeks. That time was up in February of 2025. She's had no feedback. She's not been told she completed it successfully. She hasn't been told she didn't complete it successfully. And I'm relieved to hear tonight that apparently she did complete it successfully, because apparently this action is not being taken based on performance. However, when in March of 2025, she gets a letter saying she's being subject to a reduction in force, and there's a new position being created with the exact same job requirements that she is doing now, it makes me very concerned that that is being used in a pretextual way to avoid doing the due process and the affording of reasonable accommodations. I appreciate the representation that this isn't based on job performance, but Mrs. Reyes was put under an improvement plan, then it seemingly dropped. We don't know what's going on, and then she gets this letter creating a new position that sounds like the exact same position and has the same job description she's already doing, but it's being called a director level. So I would encourage you all to think about this, think it through. I would encourage you not to eliminate this position. And if in the end run that is the decision, I would encourage you to give Mrs. Reyes first consideration in making a determination about who would fill that new director level position. Thank you.
Thank you. Rebuttal.
So with regard to the points that we made this evening, it seems that the biggest one is that Ms. Reyes is currently doing the jobs that are listed in tab 3. I know that that is not correct because I know who does those jobs right now, and in some cases it's me. So for one, she does not attend all construction meetings. She does not work directly with vendors or the treasurer and legal counsel on all contracts, I know for certain. She does not train staff members with regard to the P-card program. The utility and performance of purchased materials, there aren't follow-up analysis being done on that. Recommending alternative items for cost or improvement delivery times. She does not test products offered by suppliers. Review purchasing software, that is not being done by anyone. And the inventory amounts, that is not being done by Ms. Reyes. And I could go on with everything on the list, basically. But it's, it sounds like that's the main point that's being made as far as the reasoning that we have given and then the counter argument to that. So we would just again ask that the board uphold the recommendation of the administration. And if you have any questions, I can take them.
You have a rebuttal to, okay.
She doesn't get one.
I know. So, that said, does any board members have any questions?
I'm a little confused. If she was, I mean, I don't think you used the term plan of improvement, but was she put on any kind of like job performance review?
I was not part of that,
Okay.
If there was, but, you know, we aren't here on a performance issue this evening. We are here on
Right, I know that, but since that was brought up, I wanted to make a note of that to see what was happening with that.
Do you have a question for me? I'm happy to try to answer it.
Well, yeah, I mean, what was the issue with her job performance that you have?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I hear you fine.
I personally don't have an issue with her job performance. There, in the wake of her returning to work after her stroke, she suffers from some residual effects of her stroke, primarily aphasia and apraxia. These are neurological conditions which affect her speech, can affect some motor skills, has also affected things like her ability to, she was making misspellings and was having some trouble with writing grammatically correct sentences and some other issues. We don't dispute that. The point I was making there is that there was absolutely no interaction with her about providing her any kind of reasonable accommodations to help her, culminating in basically putting her on an improvement plan, which she clearly, has completed successfully.
Yeah, see, that was my question.
Well, and I'm sitting here in the dark, with all due respect. I take that, I will take it at its face value at the moment, but as you might imagine, I have nothing whereby to completely verify that or to make ultimate determinations as to whether the action that's being taken is valid or whether it is an attempt to circumvent what should have been being done to help her do her job. With respect to the items, that's probably getting beyond, it's probably getting into rebuttal of what was Ms. Carradine just said. But with respect to those additional things that have been added in there. If there are additional, they seem to be minuscule compared to the overall duties. I think the overwhelming majority of those duties Ms. Reyes is already doing, so,
Thank you.
You have any questions?
thank you.
I have a follow-up question. Did Mrs. Reyes approach her supervisor for accommodations?
She did on one occasion. She requested, and this was after the improvement plan was put into place, she requested a program that's called Grammarly, which was provided to her. Let me add, though, that the prevailing law does not put the onus on the employee. It is the responsibility of the employer. They are not alleviated from providing reasonable accommodations or determining what reasonable accommodations could be provided just because the employee didn't ask for them.
Great, thank you.
You're very welcome.
No other questions? Guess we're done with this hearing then. So we'll
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good to see you. Yeah.
Jennifer, will you want these back?
I can, do you want to collect them now or at the
No,
end?
I just want to make sure that,
Because you're going to get them.
right, we get more of them. We just start our staff here. Okay, next up is Caffeine Finn. Let's check out some, oh, she's here.
Start at 5:30. Yeah, what time is it right now? 10 to.
Okay, is there anybody going to be testifying?
Yes.
Okay, so raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to, sorry, excuse me, do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Start with you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm going to introduce myself again for the sake of this recording. I'm Jennifer Carradine here on behalf of the administration this evening. And the administration requests the Board of Education to uphold the recommendation to eliminate the Chinese teaching position at South Middle School effective for the 25-26 school year. This recommendation is part of a larger effort to reduce expenditures in response to a known loss of revenue, which requires Monongalia County Schools to eliminate a minimum of 9.75 county-funded professional positions. Throughout this process, our primary goal has been to make the necessary reductions in a way that impacts the fewest number of students while still ensuring access to meaningful educational opportunities. If you look in your handout, the first one is the letter that was given to Ms. Fang. And after that, you'll see scheduling for the world language programs at South. This shows the class enrollments, and they are broken out by language and year. 22-23 was the inception of the offering at Chinese at South Middle School, and they go through the current school year. You'll see on there are some class periods that are designated exploration or enrichment. So I would point out to you that those are actually student-assigned classes and not student-chosen electives. The very last page in your packet gives you a summary of all of that information in the form of a spreadsheet. So there are 3 world languages offered at South: Chinese, Italian, and Spanish. If you look at your summary page, you'll see that enrollment trends reflect consistently low student demand for Chinese. Of the world language options, Chinese accounted for 7.98% of student enrollment in 22-23, 9.02% in 23-24, and 10.98% in 24-25. Comparatively, Spanish consistently enrolls over 50% of world language students, and Italian over 30%. The minimal percentage of students selecting Chinese and the necessity to reduce positions results in the eliminating of this position as a necessary and pragmatic decision. In order to earn a full world language credit for high school, middle school students must complete 2 years of a foreign language. For students who began Chinese in the 24-25 school year, there will be accommodations in place to ensure they are able to complete their second year in 25-26. This will be in the form of a live teacher at the school for 1 class period a day. Due to the small number of students impacted, a full-time teacher is not required to meet this need. The course can be offered within a single class period, preserving the opportunity for students to complete their credit without interruption. The administration is committed to honoring the educational experiences of students currently enrolled in the program and ensuring a smooth transition that does not impact their academic progress. We thank you for your consideration and for your continued support as we work to reasonably manage district resources while prioritizing the needs of our students. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Mike Hennessy with the West Virginia Education Association. I'll start off with acknowledging the fact that this time of year is very difficult for you folks, making very difficult decisions. It's happening all over the state. I thought as bad as last year was with revenue transfer season, this year would be a little easier. It hasn't been. We understand that times and difficulties are still thriving, unfortunately, and the tough decisions do have to be made. We do, however, have expectations that those decisions are made with a full understanding of the facts, and the best decisions are made for the students. And we don't lose that, especially, it's easy when we start talking about money, funding, to lose the aspect of the students and all that. So I hope we can keep that focus moving forward, especially with Ms. Fing. She began teaching in 2022 at South Middle with the Chinese program. Since that time, and she's going to speak more afterwards about some of the details, the program has shown growth. It's shown success. It's won accolades that you're probably not aware of, and it's, Mon County is in a position where you have the benefit of having a strong international community right here in your backyard, whether it's through WVU, the medical hub that's around us, the IT environment that's out of Pittsburgh. Chinese is imperative for our students when they graduate. There's opportunities that having this background will provide them that several, and dare I say probably most students in West Virginia will not even have the opportunity to have. And by cutting this position, you're cutting one of the benefits that Mon County has, and one of the things that makes it unique. And this is not the place to look at making cuts when you are factoring in what's best for the students. With regards to a survey that was recently done asking about students and what they would like to have for the upcoming year, Chinese was not even offered on the survey. And I believe if you would ask students, you would see the need for the Chinese program at South Middle. There are higher enrollments in the other foreign languages. A rhetorical question, because I doubt it can be answered at least here tonight, when did those programs begin? I would be willing to say probably a little earlier than what the Chinese program began. We all know it takes time to build a program, to build a curriculum, to build interest, enthusiasm. And Ms. Fing's been doing that since day one. As we heard from the delegation earlier, which is better and stronger than anything we can give here, is hearing from the parents, from the students. That is there. So the lack of need, reasoning, I think is incredibly inaccurate. And I want to invite Ms. Fink to talk more about her program and allow you to ask her questions about the program itself.
Hello everyone, my name is Feng Cai Feng. I'm the Chinese teacher at South Middle School. So I want to show you guys, this is one of the trophy my student just won. It's April Fool's. I did not see any other languages won anything in this competition, or didn't they even bother to participate in this. And all the students got 2,000 scholarship offered by Fairmont State University. So currently, for 7th grade, I have 16 students, and they want to learn Chinese next year. So the survey they posted on March 20. I received the letter on March 24th, but the survey they set out on March 20 include Spanish and Italian. They did not ask the students what they want for next year. A lot of students did not get a chance to explore Chinese. I think it's scary for a person who speaks English to recognize the Chinese characters. But some of my students are here. I think they enjoy my class and they want to continue it. Also, the Mandarin Chinese is one of the most spoken language in the world. In a time when global connections are more important than ever, if we cut this program, I don't think it's offer the opportunity for our students to be successful. And I want to know, because I know like a middle school, other 2 middle schools and elementary schools and 2 high schools have a Chinese program. So if only cut South Middle School students the opportunity, I don't think it's fair to our students compared to other schools. And the Chinese program, if they start at middle school and they're doing well, when they get to high school, they may able to take the AP Chinese class, and very supportive for them to go to college, get college credit. And they also get the seal of biliteracy, which is an award given to high school graduate students who really can speak 2 or more languages, and they may get scholarship for college or credit for college, or they will help them for their employment in the future. So I think the Chinese language is needed not only at the school but also in the community. I know people looking for private tutoring for Chinese language. I even got the parents send me email this afternoon, ask me would I be able to teach her daughter this summer for her to continue to learn language. So I think it's a proof that Chinese language is needed by students for their success. And I have a letter from a student who is not mine, but he is a local student who began to learn Chinese through community and school programs over a decade ago. He says, learning Chinese has changed my life. It shaped how I see the world, how I connect with others, and how I understand culture on a deep level. It started with feeling left out, watching friends speak a language I didn't understand, but I chose to learn. That choice gave me confidence, connection, and a community. Over the years, I celebrated Lunar New Year, learned ancient Chinese poems, passed the HSK, which is a Chinese exam to know their level, and use Mandarin as my part-time job to help people who couldn't speak English. Now, I don't just study the language, I live it. I understand stories, jokes, values, even movies, without translation. I have learned that language isn't just a word, it's a bridge. So, these are voice from a person who is learning Chinese, and it's the voice for all my current students and my future students. So I hope the board consider to not cut this program and offer what our students need and offer what will help them to be more successful in the future. If you have any question, I'm happy to answer.
I have a question. Ms. Caradine, in your packet here, I would just like some explanation. What is the difference between Chinese 1A, Chinese 1, and I guess Chinese 1A and Chinese 1?
Chinese 1A is our school, the schedule. I don't know other middle schools, but our schedule is Chinese 1A is offered to 7th graders. So they will start 1A at 7th grade and do 1B at 8th grade. And for Chinese 1 is only offered to 8th graders. So they can only, if they did not learn any language in the past 2 years, they can sign up for Chinese 1 at 8th grade. That's not, the schedule is not made by me. It's made by the school.
And then the Explore Enrichment class, is that for 6th graders?
It has been changing every year. I could not control that either. So first year when I came to this school, the classroom I got is as small as this space. So every 9 weeks I can get 8 to 10 students to explore the language. In that small space, I don't think the students had like great experience or more students can explore the language. So they are the current 8th graders. That's why you see the 8th graders don't have much numbers. But the second year, I got a little bit bigger room, probably from here to there. So I got more students. Then you can see I have 16 students from 7th graders now. And now I have a real classroom. So I have more students can explore Chinese class. So I asked them, hey, do you want to take Chinese? A lot of kids said they want to. But the survey did not give them a chance to speak their needs.
Okay, thank you.
So, yeah, I have a question. So you were saying that next year's course surveys went out before you received your RIF letter?
Right.
Did you ask administration why it was left off?
Yes, I asked
What was
my
their response?
principal. She says she already said the survey. It's the way to. She told me it's the students or it's for the students sign up for the language for the class, and I asked her to do another survey. She refused to do, and she may said she will do it, but up till now I did not see any survey set out.
But there was no answer as to why it was left off.
She said based on past 2 years, data, then she thought will not have more students. That's why she don't do that. So the decision of lack of needs is based on past data, not the future needs.
Mr. Berry, if I may, I think I know where your mind may be going to, and ours is as well, why that seemed to be put in motion well before we were notified of the RIF. At this point, we have unanswered questions because obviously they can't be answered here, but that is a very concerning red flag we had moving into this.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Are we allowed to say anything?
No. Okay, we'll finish this hearing then.
Well, can I close real quick?
Sure. Well, no, you can't close.
I'll keep it extremely short, I promise. I know you have probably a long evening. In addition to the delegation that spoke earlier, I would just ask anyone that's here in support of the Chinese program, if you would just rise. Thank you. Thank you. Again, I hope you take into consideration not to lose this advantage that your county uniquely gives your students.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, Chelsea Hayes. You want to check out and see if there's anybody outside who would like to join on this one?
This is even staple as staples. We have a whole group out in
Spring's killing me. It kills me. Thank you. See her.
Thank you. Okay. Do you have any witnesses?
Just me.
Could swear you in, I guess, if you're going to do your own witnessing.
Yeah, sure.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Proceed.
I'm Jennifer Carradine. I'm here this evening representing the administration. So you've heard some themes this evening, and that is that you heard it from a delegation and then from the last hearing, that Monongalia County Schools does go above and beyond in providing opportunity for students. And we have been very fortunate financially to be able to do that. But as you've also heard, we are going into this year $4 million with a budget that's $4 million less than we had last year. So we need to find places to recoup that money and, again, to impact the fewest number of students in that process. So the administration this evening requests your support in upholding the recommendation to eliminate the position of EMS training instructor at MTech effective for the 25-26 school year. This recommendation is based on a thorough review of the program's enrollment trends, funding status, and long-term sustainability. The EMS program was launched in the 2022-23 school year as part of a high school career and technical education initiative. It was initially supported by federal Perkins Grant funding for a 3-year period. Unfortunately, the program has experienced consistently low completion rates. If you look in your handout, you'll see that in both the 22-23 and 23-24 school years, 10 students enrolled, and there was a 50% attrition rate, leaving 5 students to complete the program. For the 24-25 cohort, 11 students enrolled. Currently, there are 3 in the program, and 2 have committed to completing the program after this year, which is over a 70% dropout rate. There are currently 12 students enrolled for the 25-26 school year, but history suggests that enrollment numbers are not a reliable indicator of program completion. Students who withdrew from the program commonly cited the course's difficulty and lower than expected compensation in the EMS field as primary factors in their decision. These concerns underscore the challenges of maintaining a viable program. The administration is committed to ensuring that the students currently in the program are able to complete their training, and MTech has partnered with the Shirley M. Kimball Training Center to provide a seamless transition for these students ensuring the continuity of their education. It's also important to note that there are other EMS training opportunities available in the Morgantown area. The Shirley M. Kimball Training Center offers programming that MTech has hosted during evening hours, with some high school students having already completed that course through this partnership. Additional EMS training opportunities are publicly listed on emswv.com, including programs offered through Monongalia EMS and Salem EMS. Perkins funding is for newly established programs for the first 3 years. With the end of the third year of Perkins funding, the continuation of this program would require the county to absorb the costs, despite the fact that EMS students currently account for just 9.1% of senior enrollment in our health occupations programs. If alternative funding becomes available, the administration would prefer to allocate it toward a program that serves a broader student population, such as the newly introduced Therapeutic Services Program. The new program is similar to the highly successful Med-Ed program, which currently has a wait list of over 40 students. In light of a known reduction in revenue, Monongalia County Schools must reduce at least 9.75 county-funded professional positions for the 25-26 school year. And as we've stated, our goal is to make these reductions in a way that impacts the fewest number of students while preserving educational quality and opportunity. And finally, we are pleased to share that our current EMS instructor, Ms. Hayes, holds certification in another instructional area and is guaranteed a position within Monongalia County Schools at the same rate of pay. This ensures her continued contribution to our district while meeting broader staffing and budgetary needs. The administration appreciates your thoughtful consideration of this recommendation, which reflects our responsibility to align resources with student interest and program success.
Thank you. You have the podium.
This isn't good. I'm not good at public speaking.
Just be comfortable.
Good evening. My name is Chelsea Hayes. I am the EMS instructor. I have been the last 3 years. I'm a licensed paramedic in the state of West Virginia, and I've been involved in as a first responder for the last 10 years. So first of all, you just heard that I do have another position here. This isn't my argument, isn't my job. My argument is for this program, and would ask that you would reconsider, at least see the whole picture. I understand the numbers don't look great, but sometimes numbers don't tell the whole story. And I've had to make difficult decisions. A lot of medical people in this room have made difficult decisions. And I thank you for your time, and I appreciate everything that you guys take into consideration tonight. So for starters, there's absolutely a need for this program. As you can see, there's plenty of people here in the community that support this program. EMS is in a crisis. Our workforce, we need people. We need EMTs, we need paramedics, we need people with good training. Various reasons have led us to where we are, but West Virginia has lost more than 26 EMS agencies in the last few years. Right now we hover about 1,800 providers in the state. Our kids absolutely have jobs if they finish this program, absolutely. If they finish their certification, if they finish their licensure, they have a job. If not, other opportunities to use that certification. Staffing what agencies are left has become a challenge because of that. We reportedly only have 1,800 providers left to fill those roles. Information published in the West Virginia EMS Coalition late last year, recognizes that to adequately staff the state, we need 244 ambulances every day, 12 of those in Mon County. That's 24 providers at all times. Finding qualified people to fill those spots has been challenging. EMS is hard. As an EMT or paramedic, we are often called to see some of the worst things and fix that situation on somebody's worst day of their life. That responsibility isn't something for just anyone. You cannot force someone to become molded into that. So that is why we have students that find out this program isn't what they thought it was. The misconception of EMS, we're just going to put them in the back of the ambulance and take them to the hospital. No, we have valuable skills. We need to know about the human body. We need to know about patient assessment. We need to find out what is wrong with them. We need to follow our protocols. Life-saving treatments that we are doing in the back of an ambulance. So that responsibility just isn't for anyone. We're the people that run to the fire when somebody calls for help. We're the people that are there on their worst day of their life, that family member that has just lost a loved one, that person that is scared, that 5-year-old that was just in a vehicle accident. We're there to hold their hands, to take care of them, to talk them through that situation. Former Governor Justice saw this dilemma and allocated $10 million to the Emergency Management Crisis Fund in the form of the Answer the Call initiative to help EMS workforce a few years ago. There they would provide funding to help get interested persons trained with their initial requirements and further refine their skills with better training opportunities and programs. I'm going to quote Governor Justice. As we've seen over and over again during the pandemic, our EMS workers are absolute heroes. Whenever we need help, they're always the first ones to run to the fire, but heroes like that don't grow on trees. They're few and far between, and we need to act now to bring more of them into our state. These are new and expanded efforts to train more EMS professionals. Not only will we reduce the burden of our existing workers, but we will also grow the profession in our state, safeguarding West Virginians for generations to come. So that was the birthplace of this program, along with Delegate Joe Statler, who helped make that funding, that program happen for MTech for Mon County here. Recently, he gave a speech on the House floor calling us human heroes, human angels, because that's what we do. We're the people running to the problem when other people are running away. So he helped allocate the funding to provide training for the high school students here in Mon County. This allowed for the startup funding and covered my salary for a bit to pilot the program. Yes, there are other high school programs in the state, but to my knowledge, there are still some major differences in our programs from those others. This has meant that there have been some growing pains in finding out what worked best and refining what has not. I am proud of the things that we have accomplished, and I would like to talk about those a little bit, such as having won the state championship for Skills USA for the EMT competition, not one, not two, but every year that we have been in existence. Dominated the competition. Those teams went on to place top 10 in the country. This year we also won the first aid and CPR competition. In comparison to the other long-standing programs in the state, these kids are demonstrating a clear competence in their knowledge and their skills. This year we were able to branch out and include 4 agencies as an option for our clinical and ride time, which is a requirement with our national registry, which is our licensure process. Students were required to have at least 10 patient contacts, so they go on real 911 calls. So they get that hands-on experience, whatever the situation. Car wreck, heart attack, somebody having a baby, everything in between. But that hands-on experience, countless preceptors spent time with these students teaching and mentoring them. To see the excitement in their eyes or to hear the stories of the call that they went on when they came back renews the promise that this program has for the next generation of EMS providers. We even had an amazing opportunity to work with Mon EMS last year as they donated us an ambulance to be able to use for simulated trainings. It also would go to benefit our auto tech class and our graphic design class so that they could practice their skills that they learn within their programs. My students have looked forward to the day that the engine components are finished so that we will be able to utilize this. To have a local agency believe in this program and to stand here tonight speaks volumes as to how much this workforce needs trained personnel. And yes, they may have a training program, but they fully support us in whatever we have needed thus far. That is where this program comes in. We have the opportunity to help turn staffing shortages around here in Mon County before that becomes one of those areas in the state where when you call 911, help isn't coming or there's an extended wait on an ambulance. We have the opportunity for this program to put 18-year-old students into a career that they are trained for and to make an impact. Students have completed the program, are already doing so. Many end up volunteering as volunteer firefighters and are responding to calls now, literally in their free time as high school students. They're using the skills and knowledge from this program as well as other certifications they have sought. Others are venturing into the workforce in North Central West Virginia and beyond with the training and education to respond to emergencies. Just last week, Granttown EMS was staffed solely for a day by students from this program. These kids are saving lives. That's just what happened in November 2023 when a student from this program, Caden Lynn, and I do have his mother's permission to tell you all of this, but stepped in and performed life-saving interventions and saved a life. He happened to be working at a local establishment in his part-time job when a customer experienced a medical emergency. While the restaurant was full of customers and other adults, the 17-year-old MTech EMS student stepped up, performed life-saving interventions, attempted to clear this patient's airway. When he could not clear that obstruction, when the patient went unresponsive and lost pulses, he started CPR. That was until that ambulance was able to get there. If he hadn't stepped in, if he hadn't stepped up, that patient would not be alive today. That patient left the hospital with a full recovery 3 days later. Had he not done so, that person certainly would not be alive today. In a room full of adults, this high school student used those skills from this program, stayed calm, and demonstrated the vital importance of what we do. Caden has plans to attend Pierpont Community Technical College as a paramedic student this fall and continue his education and better serve his patients. Speaking of, the program will count towards at least 7 college credit hours for our students. They're earning college credits while they're in this program. This program is only 3 years old, and I've learned a lot of how to build and implement what is normally taught in a very different time frame to a 2-year high school CTE program. I built the curriculum basically from nothing, helped my students obtain many different industry credentials while striving for their EMT licensure, and have taught them how to be competent in their skills. Yes, it is work, but absolutely obtainable for the person who is interested in the field. Sometimes we find that the field isn't for everyone. Like I said, it is hard. We see stuff that no one should have to. We deal with long hours, pay struggles, and the toll that it takes both physically and mentally on a person. With 16 and 17-year-old students who really don't know what they want to do as a career or what EMS even entails, we find that sometimes they find a different path, and that's okay. We believe in the options that CT has available and would rather see a student find what is best for them than fill a number on a roster, although ideally that would be both. I'd love to have every student want to be in my program. Right now I have a full roster for next year, and I still hear all the time that people are unaware that we have an EMS program. I have suggested several changes in the past for improvement for the design of the program. As the subject matter expert in emergency medical services and emergency medical services education for this county school system, we need to do some things different. First, a 2-year program is not working. While it does give us time to spread out the material, it stretches it out more than we probably should. Current students are enrolled as dual completers based off of the overlapping classes, so they finish 2 CTE courses. They're advanced medical preparedness and allied health. So just trying to keep them there for 2 years and keep them, motivated to stay for those 2 years, it's been a struggle. And then we lose a lot over the summer. I mean, that's an education struggle, but stopping halfway through an EMT curriculum, we reteach everything the next year is what I'm finding. Attempting to recruit while forcing kids into a room that is already too small and serving as a classroom, lab, and storage room for all of 5 minutes is not working. So recently we were able to spend about 55 minutes with a group of 10 students, and I think at the end of that, if not all of them were interested, they at least understood a little bit better of what EMS is, and that's the way we want to recruit. We want to be able to actually get our hands on things, not just try to get them into a room as quick as possible with space not being accommodating. We talk about this classroom being allocated for 12 people. You could ask the students in the room that you stretch the wrong way and you're elbowing a mannequin because we have nowhere to put it. This space is a very different space than I've ever seen for EMS education. Realistically, we have a couple of options going forward. We do close the program. Option number one. First, we close the program, and the opportunity to continue to put trained individuals into the workforce in North Central West Virginia is gone. 2, we can continue to what we're doing and make minor adjustments. 3, we follow the pathway of other programs in the state and combine it with EMT and fire training. And this would be a 2-year model with 1 year being fire and 1 year being EMT training. 4, we run 2 simultaneous EMT cohorts. While shortening the time, we can focus the training into a timeline where we don't have to worry about the obstacles like summer break or graduating. We can target students in both their junior and senior year for this training. Imagine what the opportunity for that high school senior going into their senior year that doesn't know what they're going to do, and we can talk them into this 1-year program where they could come out with a certification, where they're employable, where we have a shortage of workers. So what I would like for you to consider today, the need, we absolutely have the need. It is there. National, state, and local shortages of trained personnel have put us into a crisis mode. We need more EMS personnel. The want. The support from the community and the full roster is evidence that we have students and stakeholders that want this program. You can see by the attendance of this room. The retention. Sometimes programs aren't the right fit, but we need to do better at getting the right type of student here. This is where that recruiting and that maybe changing or looking at what we're doing. Let's promote it the right way. Let's explain what EMS is. Rigorous. The content is comprehensive. You do need to know a little bit about everything. Everything from you could have a neuro patient to a 2-year-old with a fever. You do need to know a little bit about everything, but it's not something that these students cannot manage. Money. First, the program is low cost. I literally do everything that possible in-house. I teach my own CPR classes. We pay for the certification card. That's it. Whereas some other programs, they're paying for an instructor. My students are instructors for Stop the Bleed and teach other courses, other classes at MTech, those certifications. Supplies or equipment, I've been fortunate to have stakeholders in the community that are able to donate us maybe used equipment or old equipment or things that are out of date, but we have been very fortunate, and literally the only thing that I've had to come to administration to ask for in the last 3 years is to pay a tow bill for the ambulance that was donated. Funding. The funding within the state budget for the program initially was that the program was initially funded through, I believe, is still in existence. After speaking with a local delegate, I was told that if money was the problem, he would seek more funding. I understand we're in a budget issue and that cutting 9.75 positions is a necessity. Sometimes we need to look a little deeper at what we're cutting. And lastly, I think that this quote that I found on social media recently puts the importance of the program into perspective. The one thing that separates EMS from other disciplines in healthcare. It's not the sirens, it's not the trauma scene, it's not the adrenaline, and not even the chaos. It's this. EMTs and paramedics are the only clinicians trained to make life or death decisions with no labs, no imaging, no backup. Just a gut, a brain, a flashlight, and a patient. You are the diagnosis, you are the treatment, you are the transport, you are the decision maker. Every other clinician works in a system. EMTs and paramedics are the system. And when an EMT or paramedic transitions into any other area of healthcare, leadership, education, utilization review, or hospital care, they bring with them something that can't be taught or replicated. Unshakable clinical instinct under pressure. Command presence. A sixth sense for when things are about to go south. It's why EMTs and paramedics make phenomenal nurses, providers, case managers, executives, and why we see what others miss. The training sharpens you. The street sculpts you. The chaos refines you. When you bring that into a boardroom, an ICU, a C-suite, or a documentation review, then you are not just another clinician. Then you are the force multiplier. So I hope that you would consider the full picture when making this decision that has a future, that has the potential to impact not only our current students, our future students that have aspirations of this program, and the capability of first responders in this area. I plead with you to continue the EMS program at Monongalia County Technical Education Center.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Give a rebuttal. Okay, the board members have any questions?
I do. What's the requirement to get into your program right now?
Into my program, just the same. We do an interview process that every program at MTech. Sorry, did I need to stand up to the mic?
You're fine.
Oh, you're
That there is an interview process, and we input those numbers into a system, and I'm not sure what happens after that.
Okay. And yours is a 2-year program, but you implied that maybe that's too long to keep the kids' attention?
I would
But then I heard, one second, I heard somebody say that like maybe finishing in the summer is too fast.
And I think there's 2 issues there. Having the junior class now to find out in April that is ending and trying to rush them through by June is a very different timeline than they've experienced thus far. And not that it's a huge contributing factor, but I spent 2 months on maternity leave this year, so their timeline is a little different than typical. Not that they don't have the time that we predicted for them to be able to finish, but changing that timeline mid-April is a little rushed for them, in my opinion. I think that if we came into a school year, if you guys were to grant a provisional year, if we went into the next school year and said, let's run 2 simultaneous one-year programs, I think it's absolutely doable. This is a program, the certification is usually 155 hours. Sometimes there's some extra hours added to that for extra certifications, which these students do obtain more than what is just required for their state licensure. There's a list in that packet of credentials that students within my program earn. They're very much so sought credentials for the workforce, but I think that running 2 one-year programs is absolutely doable. And then we're putting 2 cohorts of students out in ambulances, in EMS, in the workforce.
One more question.
Yes.
What do you see happening with your kids that decide this isn't their path? Like, you start with 12, or I assume they're all enthusiastic to be in there to begin with.
Not always.
Okay.
So with it only being 3 years old, there's a couple different things that have happened. That first year, the administration at MTech was literally recruiting up until the day of the first week of school. So students that just didn't know what EMS was. And maybe they were looking for a path, and they started, and it wasn't right for them. Of that crew, I had 2 that were seniors, so they went on to different post-secondary opportunities where coming back for a 13th year just wasn't feasible for it. It wasn't what they wanted to do. I had one that had a family event and moved across the state. Like he had a death in the family. He wasn't a Mon County student anymore. One that it just wasn't a good fit for her, and then one that didn't meet the standards to be a student. This past year, I had at least one that wasn't eligible to be put into the Image Trend, which is our system for education for the West Virginia Office of EMS Education. So they weren't eligible, meaning they couldn't register for the class. I had 3 that had a history of some criminal things that would have made them ineligible for licensure. And a few of those were seniors as well, and finding a one-year program that better fit their timeline for when they wanted to graduate and move into the adult world fit them better in a different area. Now, these aren't students typically that we're losing as a CTE school. They're finding a program that, hey, I've been here for a couple weeks, and I'm talking to my friends that are in a different program, and that sounds like something I'd rather do, that fits me better. On the other side of that, I've had a couple students that have switched into my program as well. Did that answer your question?
Yeah,
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, well, that'll conclude this hearing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Janice Collins. We'll check outside and make sure everybody hears that. Good.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have any witnesses?
She'll be
She'll be
testifying.
testifying.
Yes, mine will be.
Just raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Ms. Carradine?
Good evening, I'm Jennifer Carradine, here on behalf of the administration. The administration requests that the Board of Education uphold its recommendation to eliminate the Health Occupations Coordinator position at MTech, effective with the 25-26 school year. The Health Occupations Coordinator position at MTech is currently funded through the State Adult Prep Grant. At this point, we have no assurance of receipt of that grant for the 25-26 school year. Historically, the State Adult Prep Grant, plus fees and ACE funds, have supported a range of adult health occupation programs, including the LPN program, surgical technology, and other offerings. However, based on shifting demands, program changes, and fiscal realities, the administration's current recommendation is to maintain only the LPN program, starting with the 25-26 school year. Maintaining the Health Occupations Coordinator position without sufficient funding would result in the county picking up the cost of an additional position to the detriment of our pre-K-12 students, and ultimately would add a position rather than decreasing a position. The LPN program will remain fully funded for the 25-26 school year and will continue to be delivered by the existing instructional staff of 2 certified LPN instructors. With the planned reduction in adult health occupations programming, the Health Occupations Coordinator would be left overseeing only this single program. It is not fiscally responsible or sustainable to maintain a coordinator position at a salary in excess of $93,000 and a total compensation package of in excess $126,000 for oversight of just one program with 2 employees, particularly when that responsibility can be appropriately and legally fulfilled by one of the current LPN instructors. The West Virginia Board of Examiners for Licensed Practical Nurses requires that each LPN educational program appoint a coordinator. However, the regulations allow this role to be filled by one of the program's instructors, eliminating the need for a separate full-time position. Funding aside, with only the LPN program remaining, there is no need for the Health Occupations Coordinator position going forward. We acknowledge and appreciate Ms. Collins' service and contributions to MTech and Monongalia County Schools. Importantly, she holds a certification that guarantees her continued employment within the district, although at a reduced salary from her current administrative position. This recommendation reflects a business decision made in light of budget constraints and programmatic restructuring. We remain committed to supporting the continued success of our students and adult learners, and we believe this transition allows us to do so in a responsible and efficient manner.
Thank you.
Thank you. Once again, Mike Hennessy with West Virginia Education Association. I'll just quickly, again, acknowledge the fact that it's tough decisions to be made, and this is, again, one of them, unfortunately. I want to start off with saying I would be remiss looking at the personnel list if I didn't notice that in the reduction in force, half of them come from MTech. And in the transfer list, 55%, over half, come from MTech. At a time when everyone in and around education, even some of our, well, I'll be bold enough to say enemies in the legislature, have acknowledged the importance of career and tech programs, we shouldn't be looking there to be making the majority of our cuts. It's very retro thinking. We're going in reverse of what I know the school systems are being encouraged to do, both from the state and the federal levels. So I think that's something to consider when you're looking at all these potential rifts and transfers especially with Ms. Collins. She's been working for 21 years in Mon County, 15 of those years in the current position of coordinator of health occupations. Health occupations, just from listening tonight, this evening, seems to be a very hot topic, extremely hot topic. And I'm sure that it is a flagship type of program at the MTech. And any cuts to that are attacking what seems to be one of the most passionate programs that you have, listening to previous hearings and previous people speak and everyone that's come out. Ms. Collins has been in that position for 15 years, has seen it probably in many ups and downs. And I would dare to say that the program is doing very well. I'm sure that everyone who completes the program is more than qualified and goes on to careers in the field itself. A couple questions I would have to ask is, if I can ask administration, has the grant ever not been renewed in previous years?
No, but we've specifically been told that there is no guarantee of that grant money this year.
Okay. Has money been cut from the grant?
Yes.
Every year.
Yes, every year.
Okay. But for the upcoming year?
We don't have the grant for the upcoming year. We don't know what it would be if we even get it.
Okay. Has it been applied to be renewed?
I don't know that answer.
We've gotten correspondence that we don't know if we're getting the grant or not. 3 years ago, between all of the ACE funding, we were receiving $1 million. Every year, we have been cut 25%. In 2025, the grant has now down to $500,000 with all the different areas. We do not have the grant. We don't know if we are going to be getting the grant.
Can we agree that it has been asked to be renewed, though?
I'm sure it has. I can't ascertain that, though. That would be from our principal, our director of CTE.
Okay. Well, if it hasn't been asked for, I can guarantee it, we're not going
I
to get
think
it,
it's
right?
automatically given to us. I don't think
Okay.
it's something that we have to apply for. The ABE grant we have to apply for, and the CTE grant for the high school for I think it's English and math, we have to apply for. I do not think we have to apply for the state adult prep grant.
Okay. So would it be safe to assume that if the board would uphold this transfer, if the grant would come through for next year, would the transfer be rescinded for Ms. Collins? Yes, if the grant would come through, the uncertainty is, once it's known and the money is there, will the transfer be rescinded?
No.
Okay. Can I ask why?
The reasons given were lack of funding and lack of need, and I've outlined in my argument, we cannot justify a benefits package of over $126,000 for one program that can be overseen on a part-time basis by an existing employee in that program.
And you believe part-time can do as good of a job as Ms. Collins has done in her tenure?
Yes.
Okay.
She oversaw a number of programs previously. We are now down to one program, and that salary, she makes more than many superintendents in the state of West Virginia who have an abundance of more responsibilities.
Okay. I would just assert that if the funding is not an issue, which has been laid out as the reasoning for this change to be required, if that reason is no longer there after we're sure of the grant.
It's one of two reasons that were given.
Okay. So we'd eliminate half the reason to transfer.
But the other reason still exists.
Okay. All right. I guess I'm just having a little difficulty wrapping my mind around the not rescinding the transfer if the reasoning no longer exists, which is part of state code and the way that the RIF transfer is laid out. But we can deal with that later on. But I would like to be on record that as of today, we don't know the status of the grant. But if we do know, hopefully soon, assuming all the steps have been taken, that it gets renewed, I would hope that the board would consider rescinding this transfer if you vote to do it here tonight, being that that's a need that will no longer exist in the future. But with that being said, I would like to invite Ms. Collins up to speak with you and to answer any questions you may have directly for her.
I would like to make one comment. The adult prep grant is actually a grant that automatically comes from the state if it is renewed, and it's pulled from WEVA's data.
So just one clarification, as part of my job titles is the LPN program coordinator, but my job title is health occupations coordinator. And with that, alongside of the adult programs, it's also high school. I have dental assisting, medical assisting, pharmacy technician, and the emergency medical services program as well. As my title as a health occupations coordinator, those are the programs that I have overseen these 15, 20 years that I've been in Mon County schools. So it's not just the LPN program. And I will try to make this short and sweet, I promise, because I don't have a lot to say, I really don't. But I do want to thank you guys for your time and your consideration just regarding this matter. My name is Janice Collins. I am the current health occupations coordinator at MTech. And I do understand that, these are difficult decisions, and that difficult decisions sometimes have to be made. But I do respectfully ask that you take a moment just to truly consider the value that I bring to my role. Anyone can read the job description, and I hope that you guys see that I do, quite a bit on a day-to-day basis. However, it's what's not listed in that job description that's just as equally important. I have developed and maintained a well-established professional rapport for over 20 years. This includes not only strong relationships within MTech, but also with our local high schools. Who do you think the med ed instructors came to? Who do you think Kristen came to when she needed help? Me. I was the one who guided her for the first several months. And I'm not minimizing anybody else, but I'm just saying that I was there and actively helping, Kristen with that med ed program and the curriculum and, finding the textbooks and things. I'm also with the community members and partners throughout the state of West Virginia. And it's because of these professional relationships that local employers often contact me directly regarding student employment opportunities. And, this just allows me to connect our graduates with meaningful job placements and further strengthen the bridge between our programs and the West Virginia workforce, okay? And I think that's really important to know the West Virginia workforce, because you know what our graduates do? They stay. They don't move back to Jersey. They don't go to Florida. They stay here and they support this community. I have always maintained an open door policy when it comes to students. My office has consistently been a safe haven for them. Whether they've needed words of advice, encouragement, a shoulder to cry on, supporting our students in their academic and personal growth has just always been a responsibility that I've taken to heart. In my role as the health occupations coordinator, and I've mentioned this, that I do serve as the LPN program coordinator as well. Tip of the iceberg duties for LPN is everything, LPN related, all inquiries, all applicant interviews to ensure that the admissions process is consistent and that we're meeting all of the LPN board requirements. Over the past year, the LPN program has taken a hit. They've lost both an instructor and the health occupations secretary. This has resulted in the remaining LPN instructors absorbing an additional portion of the class and clinical responsibilities. At that same time, I took on the secretarial duties for the program. I've attached both of those. And with the potential loss of my position, these added responsibilities would remain and inevitably place an even greater burden on the current LPN instructors, further straining an already stretched team. This is just kind of FYI, and I know the LPN is still good to go, and I'm forever grateful, and thank you guys, but the LPN program has been a vital part of this community for over 60 years. I think we're graduating our 68th class, and we have more than that because we've graduated 2 classes some years. 1,600 plus graduates out there, and again, this is just the LPN program. They stay local, you know, they don't move. They're here supporting our communities. That's what they are. And this holds true for all of our health occupations programs, not just the LPN program. You know, all of our graduates stay local and support the communities. And in addition to my work with the LPN program, I also coordinate and work closely with the high school health occupations programs, pharmacy technician, dental assisting, medical assistant, and EMS, as well as the adult surgical technology program. With these programs, I diligently maintain and manage all student health and physical documentations, including their vaccinations, immunizations, physical exams, all of those requirements that have to be met before they can enter the clinical realm. This is a critical and detailed process that requires, it requires some medical knowledge to ensure compliance. Our clinical facilities are very strict with those requirements. And so, you have to have a little bit of medical background in order to maintain that compliance. And at any given time, I'm responsible for maintaining these records for over 100 students across the multiple programs. I've also worked to ensure that we're using the most efficient drug screening system for our school, for the simulated workplace programs, for the governor's workforce credentials, all of the health occupations students that prior to going out to their clinical rotations have to be tested. Streamlining this process has helped ensure compliance while reducing delays and improving the overall student experience. We've changed a lot with that process, and we've come a long way. I could say a lot more, but I know that it's been a long night for everyone, and so I do understand. I do hope that you will value the necessity of my role. Pretty good job at it too. Been doing it for a long time. And I hope you guys also take into consideration I live off of that $261 pay that I've had for the last umpteen years. My bills are adjusted according to my pay, like I'm sure a lot of us are. So I hope that we can take that into consideration.
Thank you. No rebuttal? Any questions?
Can I close this real quick?
Sure.
Again, appreciate everyone for your time, especially with this consideration. I believe we have all heard directly a lot more of a job duty than a half-time position could adequately fulfill. So please take that to heart when you're making this decision. And again, I'll just plead once again that if the financial need of this move doesn't exist anymore, once we know of the grant funding, please take that in consideration to rescind Ms. Collins' transfer, if that is, in fact, what you decide to do, which we hope it's not. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes this hearing. Next, we have Ashley Howard. While we're doing that, we're going to do a quick restroom break for anybody's interested. Okay, after our break, we're back in session, so to speak. And we have Ashley Howard. Ms. Carradine, can you begin?
Good evening. I'm Jennifer Carradine, here on behalf of the administration. I'd like to first point out that it was noted in the last hearing that there seems to be more transfers, rifts, and movement in MTech than anywhere else. There, in fact, has been a lot more movement around the county, but we can accomplish transfers within schools through a mutual agreement. During the past few board meetings, you've seen countless mutual agreements listed on the personnel list, and that accounts for those changes that were made within certain schools. So I did want to point that out. The administration requests that the Board of Education uphold the recommendation to eliminate the position of surgical technician instructor at MTech effective for the 25-26 school year. This recommendation aligns with recent programmatic changes and strategic partnerships that render the position no longer necessary. Specifically, the Surge Tech program has undergone a significant shift in requirements. Beginning in the 24-25 school year, all Surge Tech programs in the state of West Virginia require the completion of an associate degree. Last year, in anticipation of this requirement, and with no feasible internal solution to meet it, Monongalia County Schools initially planned to discontinue the program. However, in an effort to continue providing this career path to adult students for one additional year, Monongalia County Schools entered into a memorandum of understanding with Pierpont Community and Technical College. Under this partnership, MTech continued to offer the Surge Tech coursework, and Pierpont would confer the required associate degree upon completion. The administration, as well as Ms. Howard, knew this agreement would be for only 1 year. Notably, Monongalia County currently hosts the only remaining public school Surge Tech program in the state of West Virginia. While this demonstrates our commitment to student opportunity, the current structure of the program is increasingly disjointed under the new accreditation standards. The program will be more cohesive and aligned with state requirements when offered in full by Pierpont. Additionally, Monongalia County Schools has committed to supporting the transition by offering to donate existing surgical tech equipment to Pierpont to aid in program continuity. If you look at the email in your handout, you'll see that Ms. Howard has even participated in the discussion about donating the equipment to Pierpont to work on this program. Additionally, a partnership between WVU Medicine and Pierpont now offers an accelerated path to an associate's degree with paid training, and you will see the announcement of that also in your handout. Finally, without the guarantee of the adult prep grant and continued decreases in revenue, the financial sustainability of the program may not be viable. For these reasons, we believe that the elimination of the Surge Tech instructor position is a necessary and prudent step. We appreciate the board's consideration and continued support of high-quality, forward-looking career and technical educational offerings in our county. Thank you.
You're going to testify, so I need to, sorry, I let that slip by. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but
Yes.
Take the podium.
All right. Let's address one thing that,
Ashley.
stand up there, okay, thank you. Just want to address one thing really quickly, that she had stated that we're the only school left in West Virginia. Just also want to know that WVU is the core base, the level 1 trauma center that we have in West Virginia. It's where all of our patients come to. Surgical technologists are the backbone of the operating room. So we take this program out, it's the last one. It's done after that. But you guys have printed the email with the partnership between WVU Medicine and Pierpont Community Technical College. Jennifer and I, the other tech that developed the STAT program at WVU, as well as Janice Collins and Pierpont Community College, have all come together because of the associate's degree accreditation. We've all come together to bridge that gap between our previous MTech graduates of the surgical technology program so that they can excel and enhance in their career. WVU has created a ladder for our surgical techs that have previously graduated so that we can bridge between the STAT program, which is the NCCT, which is a credentials skill check-off, which is just as important as the CST. The CST is a little bit more rigorous than training, so that they have developed a level of pay so that surgical technologists can build that gap in the programs. WVU right now currently has 93 open surgical tech positions. This is going to take Pierpont Community College, MTech, and the STAT program in a collaboration for everyone to fill. So I would like to go to this. Today I stand before you to address the matter of a profound importance, not just to our institution, but to the fabric of healthcare in Mon County. In an era where healthcare is evolving at an unprecedented pace, we find ourselves at a critical juncture here. The role of well-trained professionals in various medical fields has never been more vital. We have seen our EMS here tonight. LPN has 1 year. Surg Kid Tech has been hanging on by a thread. The role of all of these well-trained professionals in all the medical fields has never been more vital. Among these essential roles is that of a surgical technologist. It's a position that serves as the backbone of surgical teams and directly influences patient outcomes. I want to make this clear that not only am I standing here today for the surgical technology program, but for all healthcare education programs. Not one of these programs should be cut unless it's a last-ditch effort. It has come to my knowledge that the LPN program has been extended for 1 more year, just as the ST program was last year. This kind of uncertainty and instability has repercussions on our instructors and our students. This ripples through our community. Nothing is more important than health and safety of our community in the great state of West Virginia. As the proud instructor of our surgical technology program at MTech, I'm compelled to speak out against the proposed closure of our program. 1 year removed from being informed that the program would be terminated in August 2024, then in the extension, then a fight for reaccreditation, and Janice and I successfully, together, partnered with the MOU from Pierpont Community College to once again be informed that the program would be defunded again in August. While applications, 40 or more in queue. These 40 or more applicants could pay for the program by itself with no grant funding. The administration's cooperation in transferring the program to Pierpont has been inadequate given its urgent need. As I appreciate the donation to Pierpont to try and save this surgical tech program and transfer it, they are lacking a classroom. They have asked if we could use the current classroom until they could get a classroom, and as far as I know, it has been denied. This program has been a cornerstone of surgical education in our community since 1991. Its impact cannot be overstated. Surgical technologists are not just assistants in the operating room. They are skilled professionals who play a crucial role in success of surgical procedures. They prepare the operating room. They ensure the instruments are sterile and ready. They assist the surgical team in ways that are vital to patient safety and surgical efficiency. I have printed off a roll from the AST website, which kind of gives more of an insight of what a surgical technologist does actually. Surgical technologists ensure presence of instrumentation needed for surgery. This requires a deep understanding of thousands of instruments in various specialties. Surgical technologist errors in medical safety can cause patient harm and death. Surgical technologists prevent surgical fires. Surgical technologists prevent harm related in instruments and implants. Surgical technologists prevent patient harm and death related to cancer specimens. Surgical technologists set the pace of surgery. Surgical technologists prevent patient harm and death related to sterile technique and harm and death when a patient is bleeding. No one supervises us in the operating room. No one. So let's imagine this, a surgical team without trained surgical technologists. Picture the chaos, the increased risk of infection, the delays that could jeopardize patient care. This is not just a theoretical scenario. This is what we are facing today, right now, as we speak. If we allow this program to close, it will only enhance the regional issue. Our surgical technologists are the unsung heroes of the operating room. That's why my students aren't here right now. They're working. The significance of this program extends far beyond the walls of MTech. We offer a comprehensive curriculum, rigorous academic training, hands-on experience in a simulated surgical environment. Our facility composed of experienced professionals, which I had help, but she was also let go. So it's just me now. My skills that I have developed over the last 20 years, I make sure that my students have so that they're ready to go and hit the operating room running, because the operating room is already stressed to its max. Our graduates from MTech have filled Ruby Memorial Hospital, Mongen Surgery Center, as far out as Vanderbilt, Tennessee. Closing this program is gonna eliminate so many patients to be able to access care in our communities. I don't know if you guys understand what that looks like. I've been through COVID. All of these EMS personnel has been through COVID. That was tough for us. Eliminating the workforce right now that's already depleted, it's catastrophic. And I don't want to be any part of it. We have to work together with Pierpont, with WVU's STAT program, to make it all work for our community, because us as educators owe it to our community. Thank you.
Rebuttal? Oh, I was going to do your rebuttal and question everybody, but because your rebuttal might answer some questions.
Okay. It's important to note that this program isn't ending by us eliminating at MTech. It's moving to a different location under a different umbrella of Pierpont. So we're not eliminating any opportunities for people to have these jobs or train for these jobs. The program is being shifted to Pierpont. It will no longer fall under Monongalia County Schools.
Now, is anybody, any questions?
Just a clarification. So it is now required that a surge tech would need an associate's degree?
Yes.
And that is not something that Mon County schools can hand out?
Mon County schools wouldn't hand that part out. Pierpont Community College would hand that part out. We would only be able to transfer the credits to Pierpont Community College if their proposal for the program actually goes through. It is not a done deal yet, at all. They don't have a classroom, however, they are working on it very hard, and it is a proposal to their board currently. But the gap in graduates is going to be felt everywhere. It's going to be felt at Mongen. It's going to be felt at those surgery centers, and it's going to be really felt at WVU. But until that gap is closed, we have to stay open.
Thank you.
So they go from your program
To Pierpont.
to Pierpont
Mhm.
to get an associate's degree?
Correct. Or they can go to Pierpont and then come to MTech, and then I just test them, and that's it.
Anybody else? All right, that concludes this hearing. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. You still with us, Sean?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm here.
We're going to go back to our regularly scheduled programming here.
Got it.
I make a
Watching
motion
as
that
well,
we
so
go
good.
into executive session to talk about personnel.
Seconded.
Okay. Danny, we will be going into executive session.
Hey, Sean,
Yep.
Jen asked for an executive session, and that was seconded, so we're going to move next door. Do you have contact information?
Yep. Jen Haggerty is going to call me on her cell phone.
All right, well then I'm gonna hang this line up.
Perfect. I'll call it back when we come back in.
Okay, thank you, Sean.
Okay, we are back for our executive session. And now we have personnel matters. First up, personnel list. And you all have a copy of it in your paperwork.
The superintendent recommends that the board approve the regular personnel list as presented this evening.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second. It's been moved and second. Any discussion? Follow-up? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, the same?
Nay.
So we have one nay? Okay, so we'll do for this, we'll do the hand check. So you are a?
Aye.
An aye. I'm an aye.
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 Nay.
A nay. Okay, just for the record.
And Sean.
Or Sean, you were?
Aye.
Aye, okay. So we have 4 ayes and 1 nay. Okay, next thing, new positions. I assume we don't have any.
We do not.
Personnel list addendum.
Superintendent recommends that the board approve the personnel list addendum as provided to you this evening.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
So moved.
No, we have 2 moved. Who was the
I
second?
second.
Okay. Well. All right, any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Accounts payable.
This one's you.
Oh, yeah, I need to exit the room, recuse myself because I have a business relationship with this vendor. So I would ask our vice president to take over, please.
Superintendent recommends that the board approve accounts payable addendum A as presented.
We have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Say aye.
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 All opposed?
Thank you, Ms. Haggerty. Let's see, now we have consent agenda.
Superintendent recommends that the board approve the consent agenda as presented this evening to include items A, expenditures exceeding $3,000. Item B, the payment of accounts payable. Item C are field experiences. Item D are minutes. And I believe that's it.
That's a short one.
It is.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion, questions, follow-up? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Board member updates?
Before you do.
Oh, hang on.
I was just going to say,
Yeah,
can you make
I'm
sure
just
Jennifer and
trying
Nicole
to
know that
text
we're
her,
back
yeah,
in
that-
session?
Apparently they don't.
Okay.
That's what I was trying to do.
Oh, yeah, we did lose some personnel, didn't we?
Yeah. But you can go through with the updates.
Oh, yeah, okay. Board member updates. Anybody have anything?
None here.
You have anything, Sean, for board member updates?
I always have something. I'll save it for next meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's just for you, Mr. Barry.
We'll continue with the policy update after we get all of our people back in the room,
Oh, there she is.
because one of them is pretty important for that. Okay, policy update. Ms. Carradine.
Okay, actually, I have no update for this week, but we will have some policies for you, the next board meeting for second reading.
All right. So what's the volume 16, the Edgar and
Jen, that's what you're referring to as the volume 16, number 2?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We're good to go on.
Mm-hmm.
And the next thing that you all enjoy is after I report the next board meeting, which is Tuesday, April 29th at 5 p.m. Anybody have anything else? We stand adjourned. Thank everybody for
Thank you, board members.
spending the evening with us.
See you guys.
See you, Sean.
You hanging up, Sean?
Yep, see ya.
All right, see you. Thank you.